Come on, come on. We're going live. We're going live. We're going live. We are live. Hey, I just wanted to take a few minutes. I jumped over to our recording studio as I get ready to push off my report on automotive CDPs, the marketplace for customer data platforms, and the movement of larger dealer groups to try to unify their customer data across their DMS, CRM, website, phone switch, chat, texting platforms, email platforms to have that single record, a comprehensive view of each customer, resolving data into entities. And over the last few days, the companies who are leaders in automotive CDPs know I've been working with them to really fine tune the product comparison charts. And, I've asked everyone to be honest in their feedback, to only talk about features that are available today, even though some features may be coming up on their roadmap in Q2 or Q3. I'm trying to not alienate any products or development work that's coming, but I want the report and the data tables to reflect what's available today. Now, the good news is that I will be updating each quarter the feature sets of the automotive CDP platform so that as dealers and dealer groups go into the marketplace looking for an updated feature set, that they'll be able to find that on brianpash.com. If you haven't requested a copy of my research report entitled The Rise of Automotive CDPs, go to brianpash.com, scroll down, and put your name in to get an advance copy before the general release, which will be in about 7 to 10 days. Now, I just wanted to mention one thing. Having spent now hundreds of hours talking with CDP companies outside of automotive, meaning they do other industries, talking to the hybrid platforms that are CDPs and marketing automation, and talking with the marketing automation platform partners that are tying into these CDPs. There's one thing that I want to just raise to everyone's consciousness is the missing piece that will be difficult for us to accomplish in this current research report. We may want to consider this research report part one and a part two coming. In fact, I had a call from one of the executives of a great platform company, and they said, Brian, maybe this report is just too much information. Maybe you should break it up into pieces. And what the final part one of the report will look like will be determined in the next few days. But it's planned to be about 20 something pages, because I think it's important for dealer groups and the entire automotive community to understand what is possible, what's happening outside of automotive, what's coming inside, and also the discovery of some under the radar companies that are doing an amazing job helping dealers unify their data. But let me get to the purpose of this short video. One of the things that this research report will not be able to do is to actually measure the accuracy by which each platform unifies the dealer's data. And let me explain. As I've talked to dealers who have embarked on CDP project, they've told me, Brian, we're trying to determine which data partners we should actually use, because not all data is created equal. In fact, some of the technology platform providers have told me, I use Experian for this and Equifax for this and TransUnion for this and Axiom for this. And I'm like, well, why don't you just use one partner? And they're like, well, there's some overlap, but not everyone's the best at everything. And that's very interesting. We have some people say, Brian, I don't bring in the chat, in the text, and the phone calls because we don't believe that helps the consumer record be unified. And of course, I disagree with that completely, but these are different opinions. I have some people say, look, I don't trust any third party appending. The best source of true data is by contacting the customers and asking them to update their own records. And I understand the validity of that. But when you do talk to the CDP players on how do they take the DMS data, the CRM data, the phone data, the marketing data, and unify that into an entity and a household, most of the time what I'm hearing is, well, that's our proprietary secret sauce. But when it comes down to it, it has to be about business rules. What is the original source of truth? Who is the best source to update an address if someone moves? Who's the best source to update that a vehicle was disposed or traded in? Who is the best source to determine what's the new primary email address or primary phone number for a consumer? This is really the complex part of CDP. Now, we've interviewed companies like Telium and Treasure Data and companies like Salesforce that really do this at scale for very large companies as they resolve data into entities, into households. But what about the smaller players that are specific to automotive? How would a dealer or dealer group know who's doing the best job at properly resolving identity and entity? This is where I hope in the future to add some additional research and value. Ideally, I'd love to get a dealer who, with the right disclosures and security, maybe does a data bake-off, taking their data, giving it to 3 or 4 companies, having them resolve that data into entities, and then independently contacting these new resolved records, maybe contacting 100 random people to see if the data that was updated is actually accurate, meaning maybe the DMS said that they had 3 cars still, and do they have those 3 cars? And maybe one of the data partner updates said that this is the new email address. Should that be the new email address that the dealer uses? Ideally, I'd love to see some bake-off that would talk about the accuracy by which these CDPs use third-party data and the dealer's own data and communication channels to unify the record. Who's the best at it? Why do I bring this up? Well, let's talk about service, marketing, and reminders. How many of us have received physical mail pieces on cars that we sold years ago? Or how many times are we getting emails on vehicles that we even traded in with a dealership? Or how about this? You buy a car from an out-of-state dealership and they're still sending you direct mail pieces or emails to get you in to service the vehicle. Now, you would think by 2023, it should be pretty clear who owns a vehicle. But the answer is no. I talk to dealers and say, Brian, we still have a problem with undeliverable mail and undeliverable emails. And we think we're working with the best service marketing company, or maybe one that the OEM endorses. You see, how would a dealer know who's really doing a good job with data hygiene? Who should they trust? This is one of the challenges as dealers go and interview CDP companies. More isn't necessarily better. I've interviewed some CDP companies like, Brian, we have hundreds of data points that we can append to every customer record. And well, that sounds great until it's not. If the data isn't applied properly, if it doesn't help guide better business outcomes. And this is why I told the companies in this report, don't be afraid to be truthful. Just because somebody says they have 10 data integrations doesn't mean that their business processes and rules create better outcomes for dealers. I don't know how to evaluate that unless we do some type of head-to-head bake-off, or, well, maybe it's only going to be known if under NDA, the dealer groups get to see what those business processes and rules look like. But I really think it's important that the dealers who are thinking about a CDP partner, they have to know what the rules are. And if the company can't explain the business rules for data updates on addresses, car ownership, emails, and phone numbers, if they can't explain the value of appending data from the credit bureaus, that might be a red flag. Because how are you going to trust your multi-million-dollar business to companies that are not so transparent? Now, here's what I do know. I do know that the larger CDP companies are, Well, they're used to having these very transparent conversations about the business rules, about data updating. But some of these turnkey platforms may or may not be so transparent. This is where more isn't better. It's about experience in managing the data that can enhance customer records, and when to use it, and when does it help, and when does it hurt? When does it muddy the water or even corrupt the data? This is quite an interesting challenge. So I'm open to any feedback or ideas. I wonder if there are a few dealers who said, with the proper disclosures and privacy, I'd love to put three vendors head to head, taking my historical data, unifying it, and then somebody like our company independently test the quality and accuracy of that data and give the dealer feedback. I don't know. Is that feasible? Would a dealer want to help that greater industry knowledge? I don't know. Otherwise, we really need to develop the mindset, the insights, and the acumen to evaluate these different CDP platforms. For example, some CDP platforms today just bring in DMS data and append some other data from the outside. Some bring in CRM and DMS, stop. Some bring in CRM, DMS, website data, stop. Some bring in CRM, DMS, website, phone, chat, text, stop. Others not only bring in all that data, but data from outside the dealership's website. How much is too much? How much is accurate? How much is fluff? Not really sure, because it has to be tested. This upcoming research report will talk about the strengths and weaknesses of different business models, the feature sets that exist today, the pricing models, the integration models to help dealers make a better integrated data management choice. I also want to encourage all of the dealership managers, especially at dealer groups, to identify someone in their dealership who is going to be responsible for this customer data identity resolution or first party data management projects. Somebody has to be thinking about this. Have them come down to the Digital Marketing Strategies Conference in May 21st, 22nd, 23rd in Austin, Texas. The top CDP companies will be there, the experts from outside of automotive. We're going to be talking about the different product solutions, applications, and activations of data, both to encourage dealers to do smarter marketing and to change the customer experience. Go to digitalmarketingstrategies.org and get your tickets. For my followers, you can message me on any of the social media platforms for a special discount code. The conference will sell out. This is a hot topic, but in addition to this topic, CDPs, DMSC will be talking about GA4. We have a special announcement coming at the end of the week. I'm not going to give that away, but those of you who are looking for more education on GA4, stay tuned. We're going to be talking about how AI is helping the sales process and service process. We're going to be talking about modern retailing and the innovations of transactional software that is finally moving digital retailing into transactional retailing anywhere. There's a lot of great topics at DMSC, and I need you to check out the agenda. So go to digitalmarketingstrategies.org. Help me join the conversation at DMSC to figure out, how do we evaluate the data resolution, the identity resolution, eventually into entity resolution within automotive CDPs. It's going to be a challenge once we understand who the players are, what their features are. I have some ideas. I'll share it at DMSC as well. And for those of you who are joining me this weekend in Scottsdale, Arizona at the CXO Network, this is for dealer groups with 10 or more stores. You're going to see the first glimpses of the CDP research report before anyone else. So I'll see you all Friday night in Scottsdale, Arizona for a great weekend of challenge, engagement, and innovation. And then I'll see the rest of you at the Auto Intel Summit in April in North Carolina, Raleigh, North Carolina. That will be on April 19th. And then DMSC in Austin, Texas. I'll see you soon. If you have questions on CDPs or need some help selecting the right partner for your dealer group, make sure you message me. And if you enjoyed this conversation, put in a comment, put in a note, say hello. Always encourage that feedback. I'll see you soon. Now it's time to sign off and get ready for another business call.